Donna, I just want a mate. You just want to mate? No, I just want a mate. Well, you are mating with me, sunshine. What? No, I just said I wanted a mate. A mate. Come on, Doctor. You can whip me into shape. The fat just walks away. Hello my fellow Whovians and subscribers, and welcome to my latest Doctor Who review, where today I start reviewing Doctor Who Series 4. Woohoo! Series 4, yay! Well, of the new series, starring David Tennant and Catherine Tate. So, we begin with Partners in Crime, starring David Tennant as the 10th Doctor, and the return of Catherine Tate as Donna Noble. Woohoo! Finally! So, the plot of this story is as follows. Donna Noble is determined to find the 10th Doctor again, even if it means braving the villainous Miss Foster. But when the alien threat escalates out of control, can Donna find her Time Lord before the March of the Adipose begins at last? So, Partners in Crime. This is a good episode. I wouldn't say this is the best of Series 4, but Series 4 is a very strong series, much like Series 3. So, I really do like this one. I think it's funny. I think it's interesting how it begins. We basically see the Doctor and Donna, well, separately with each other. Like, they're almost crossing paths, but they just don't meet each other until a certain point. We focus mainly on Donna and the fact that she regrets her decision to not go with the Doctor at the end of The Runaway Bride. And we see Donna's family life, and she has a bit of a dysfunctional relationship with her mother. She's kind of going from job to job. She can't settle down properly. She's just fed up, and she can't really fix things, though she wants to. I think she's quite depressed, actually. Donna's a little bit down on herself, and she has a great relationship with her granddad, Wilf, which is nice, but she doesn't seem to be able to kind of focus or function, and she goes investigating, looking for trouble, because she wants to find the Doctor, and she wants to travel with him. The Doctor is on his own as well. We see a moment in the TARDIS where he's inspecting I think it's the capsule, and then he starts to talk, and then he looks around and realizes that no one's there. And yeah, it's kind of sad from his point of view as well. The story itself, it's a little strange, I guess you could say. It is kind of strange. The fact that we basically have these balls of fat. they are the villains, as well as Miss Foster. The fat just walks away. I mean, the adipose are cute. That's the main selling point with them. They are cute. The CG is probably a little dated by this point. They're not the most threatening of villains, and this probably is one of the more goofier Doctor Who stories, but I don't mind them. I think they're okay. They're not anything amazing. The design is basic, but they're alright. The story is basically that Miss Foster is using humans to breed the adipose on Earth, which is apparently a crime, and that's it really. Like, she tries to kill the human race by breeding adipose. It's hardly the most interesting narrative, but it's very basic. But it's enough for this, because the strength of this story is not the actual narrative, but it's the comedy. This particular episode is hilarious. I always laugh at it. It is incredibly funny, especially when the Doctor and Donna do meet and they do have that interaction through the windows. That is just hilarious. That is really funny. Some great physical comedy there from Catherine Tate and David Tennant. Though these two are honestly so good together on screen. They have such a great on-screen chemistry. And we'll see that throughout Series 4. But I would be lying if I said the narrative wasn't kind of dull. I mean, it's not the most interesting story in the world, but I can sort of let it go in a way because I do like the Doctor and Donna on screen together, and they do finally reunite. The adventure really kicks into gear, and it becomes a lot more fun to watch. This one is just fun. It's just a fun opener. It's not amazing. It's not as good as Smith and Jones, but it definitely has something in there for everyone. The villain, Miss Foster, she's okay, yeah, and I like the fact that she has a sonic pen. That's kind of a nice little tidbit to her character. But basically she's like an outer space super nanny, as Donna describes her. Again, not the most interesting character, but, you know, just decent enough, I suppose. There is the constant joke about her tying up the journalist all the time. She keeps doing that, which is kind of amusing, I suppose. I really like the scene on the hill with Donna and Wilfred when she says, "Oh, I wish I hadn't have let the Doctor flown away. I wish I'd have gone with him." And, you know, obviously there's repercussions from the runaway bride. Donna hasn't told her family the truth about what happened with Lance and the Doctor and the Rachnos. That's kind of been left unsaid because she's worried that, you know, they won't believe her or they'll think she's gone mad. I think the thing to remember about Catherine Tate as Donna is that she's not just there for comic relief. She is hilarious, but also she can play a dramatic role, and Donna is a very dramatic role. Catherine Tate has her own comedy show where she does sketches as loads of different characters, and she does a great job in that, showing her comedic talents. But I like the fact that in Doctor Who, we got to see her dramatic talents, and obviously I will go further into that with the next review, which is Fires of Pompeii. But with this one, I kind of felt really sorry for her, you know, seeing her down on her luck. There's that scene where she's sitting on the table just listening to her mum beat her down constantly, and it's actually very heartbreaking. It was depressing to watch because her mum doesn't have any faith in her, and that's awful. That is really awful. Whereas it was much different with Rose and Martha. Martha's mum just thought the Doctor was dangerous, and much the same with Jackie. But eventually Jackie and Francine did come round to the Doctor, even if it was very late in the day. And they both loved their daughters a lot, no matter what they did. But with Sylvia Noble, it seems like she's just fed up of Donna failing. Like, she beats her down and she doesn't support her, she doesn't encourage her. And that scene when she is sitting at the table and it's cross-fading with all the things that her mum is saying to her, Donna's just blanking it all out. That was really emotional, and I felt sad for Donna. I really did. It's a much different family dynamic because it's not all happy families. Even though you could argue that Martha's and Rose's families weren't happy families as such, they certainly seemed a bit more functional than Donna's one. Obviously, Martha had some friction in the beginning of Series 3 with her family, but they managed to kind of get closer after the experiences with the Doctor and everything. And Jackie and Rose were always fairly close, but obviously it's you know, you could make this debate go on all day, but the point is Donna and her family, it's kind of 50-50. She loves her granddad very much, they're very close. Her mum, it's a little frictious, and her dad is dead, obviously. I also enjoyed the fact that this one, there was a great sort of adventurous feel to it. There was a great sort of chase atmosphere, and David Tennant as the Doctor is also very good. As much as I praise Catherine Tate, David Tennant is hilarious as well. And it's interesting to see the Doctor trying to cope with being on his own. And the fact is, he doesn't immediately let Donna come into the TARDIS. He does have his reservations, and he does feel guilty for what happened with Martha and her family in Series 3. There's that funny line, of course, when he says, I just want a mate. And she says, what, you just want to mate? He's like, no, I just want a mate. You're not mating with me, sunshine. Like I said, the comedy is definitely the strength of this one. And the two of them, they just bounce off each other so well. There's also a cameo at the very end of the episode from Rose. Yeah, Billie Piper as Rose comes back at the very end. She doesn't say anything, but, you know, it's obviously leading up to the Series 4 finale, which is pretty awesome. So we'll get to that later. The music by Murray Gold is great and exciting, and I like Donna's theme very much. It's a very good piece of music. The CGI could be construed as being a bit dated by this point, especially when we see that woman Stacy getting killed when Donna turns to capsule, and then the adipose form out of her body, and then she dies. Partners in Crime, overall, I think this is a good one. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's an amazing episode, but I enjoyed it for what it was, and it was fun. But I would be lying if I said it was one of the best, because I don't think it is. But it is funny. It is very exciting. It's a fun romp, basically. It's a great romp of an adventure, and it's great to have Donna back. David Tennant is fantastic. When Donna's in the TARDIS at the very end with the Doctor, Wilfred sees them and he's jumping for joy. I just love that. I love that. He's so happy for her that she's finally found some happiness in that she's able to go and travel with the Doctor now, which is fantastic. The fact that they joke about the Doctor and Donna mating just goes to show how much these two are funny, because it's not a romantic relationship. It's not like Rose, where it was a romance, or Martha, where Martha fancied the Doctor, but the Doctor didn't reciprocate. And Martha is mentioned a few times, actually, in this one. Definitely, I mean, obviously, the Doctor's still dealing with the guilt and the repercussions of the Series 3 finale. But with Donna, they're purely just friends. They are purely just friends, even though constantly it will be referenced like, oh, Mr. and Mrs. Noble, Mr. and Mrs. Doctor, you know. It's a constant thing where they have to say, oh, no, we're not married. But we'll go more into that later. So to wrap it up, I would give Partners in Crime a solid 8 out of 10. It's not the best of Series 4, but it's a good start, and it's only going to get better from here on now, I think. That is my review of Partners in Crime. What do you think? Please comment down below, let me know, and stay tuned next time when we review The Fires of Pompeii, which has become a very significant episode, in that it also features Peter Capaldi, who will become the 12th Doctor, and also Karen Gillan, who becomes Amy Pond in the Matt Smith era. So anyway, until next time, I'm Mr. TARDIS11. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon. Bye for now.